Look, creating content to grow your email list is necessary in 2025. You can't just not do that. But if we're talking about the fastest and most predictable way to grow a small email list, there is only one answer. And that answer is buying your leads. You can go online, pay some money, and get a bunch of people on your list. Now, I'm not talking about getting a bunch of random emails and slapping them in your list. You can't buy that, but it's absolutely stupid because they won't answer and they won't care. Instead, in this video, I'm going to show you 3 different ways you can buy leads for your list, but those leads would be only people who want to be on your list, people who proactively opt in to get your emails. If you have some money to spare and you want to grow your list and business faster, you are in the right spot. If you don't know who I am, my name is Jordan Parker. I'm the guy who creators come to if they want to scale their business. I write awesome emails as well, and you can find them for free at Creator Income, link below. But you're here to learn about buying your leads. So let's get into that. Here you can see all 3 ways. I'm not gatekeeping or anything, I'll just give you everything. So I'll explain why those are different and when you should pick each different one. We have 3 categories. The first category is the expensive options. We will be running ads there on different platforms. Those would cost the most, but they also give the most predictable and fastest results. In category number 2, we have the cheapest. If you have some money to invest but not too much, this is the category that you want to use. And finally, we have the mid category. It's mid in terms of price and mid in terms of results because it's up and coming, but it has high potential of you hitting gold there and being one of the first users who makes a lot of money there. So let's get through each and every one of them. First, we have the expensive ones. Those would be, and I just added a new one because I didn't add it in the initial diagram, would be ads on Google, on Twitter, because ads there can be very interesting, on Meta, and on other platforms. We'll go over all of them and go over a very quick fire way of pros and cons and picking which one you want to use. When it comes to Google, Google is generally cheaper. Pretty much most other fully automated ad platforms. I'm looking at Facebook ads, for example, Meta ads as they are called right now. Meta ads do everything for you. A monkey can run Meta ads. That's what makes them so cool, because you can just set them off and they can start running and generating some income for your business. Yes, you need good copywriting, but the actual technical setup is super easy there for an ads platform at least. Google is more complicated than that. You need to understand Google more. You need to understand how people search on Google. You need a little bit more marketing knowledge. You need a bit more technical knowledge, but Google is pretty damn cheap. And if you nail the right keywords, you can get very good results from it. One thing you should probably run on Google, no matter what approach you choose, is running your own name and running your own company name and running your newsletter name, whatever. All of those usually rank very easily and they almost guarantee profitable ROI. Next, we have Twitter ads. Twitter has been a very controversial platform and I understand why, but we're thinking about making money here. We don't care about the politics of it. The important part on Twitter is a lot of advertisers left, which means that there is a lot of room for new advertisers, which allows for ads to be significantly cheaper than many other platforms, and they still have several million active users, so it is by far a very nice place to advertise, and the cost can be significantly cheaper than Meta, although the targeting is significantly worse. So if you are fine with fidgeting around and figuring it out and you want to spend a little less, then it can be a very cool idea. And also, if you're already using Twitter, buying one of their corporate accounts gives you the money back in ad credits, and you can reinvest that and also get a bunch of extra reach and other random stuff that you might find beneficial if you're running your marketing operation on Twitter, which right now I'm not sure how much I can recommend. But anyway, next we have Meta ads. Meta ads is the staple of ads. They run on Facebook. A lot of people with money are on Facebook. They can run on Instagram. They'll soon be able to run on Threads, and for some people they already are. Very nice place, very easy to set up, a lot of beautiful AI working for you, especially if you have a list of buyers, running a retargeting campaign there and advertising to this list or finding similar audiences. Absolutely gorgeous, very good money. And you can also scale your business entirely through Meta ads. It requires more skill because there's a lot of competition, but if you learn it, you'll never worry about growing your business again, and social media will be just gravy on top of everything else. Next, we have other ads, and this can be every other platform that runs ads. You can experiment with platforms like Reddit, like Quora, like Amazon, whatever. They're all smaller advertisers. They're all worth it for specific audiences and specific niches, and they can generally be more affordable compared to, Google and Facebook and all that jazz. Those can work really well, yes, but you have to kind of understand the actual platform really well. If you're operating on this platform, if you're spending a shit ton of time on Reddit, for example, by all means, Reddit ads can be your thing and they can do really well. I'll give you you one extra for this category, which is here, but it's kind of not, which would be Google Ads also includes YouTube ads. Although this is a very different category, it works very differently. If you nail YouTube ads, they can be cheaper than many of the other options and they can work exceptionally well. Plus, people can see your beautiful face, which obviously a benefit, I think. Oh, and by the way, I have some random numbers here, don't take them as granted, but if you have a decent enough landing page, you can probably expect it to convert at like 50%. If you run decent ads, you can probably expect to get a lead for $4 to $10. This is somewhat on the mid-range. You can go higher than that and lower than that, depending on how well you do. You can get as low as $1 and even a little bit lower. You can go as high as $50 if you do a terrible job at it, or if you're in a niche that has an extreme amount of competition. So those numbers are just for you to kind of feel the difference between the different platforms, not really to give you the actual cost that you have, because that depends on a bunch of things. Next, we have the cheapest option. The cheapest option is going to be cold outreach. Perfect strangers that don't know you. Now, we don't add those to our email lists. This is incredibly stupid. This is going to get you banned. This is going to destroy your sender reputation. This is not a good idea. You do something different. You start conversations with people that you don't know, which is fine, you can do that, and yes, some people will be annoyed at this is okay, but if you don't have that much money, this is a good way we can scale faster. So you approach people that you don't know and you send them messages to build a connection with them. You don't instantly sell them, you don't instantly get them on your list, you build a bit of a relationship. One good way to do that is to send them interesting free resources that you created that they might find useful. So after they get a bunch of those, one, two, several times, you might not get them from the first try, that's very often the case, they might decide proactively to join your email list. And to do that, you basically send them a resource, and at the very end of the resource, you promote your email list. A certain percentage of people will open the resource, and a certain percentage of people who open will join your list. It's not hyper effective, but it can be significantly cheaper than classic ads. And you can do this in different ways on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Twitter, on email. All of those can work, all of those work very differently. All of those can be a little bit or very technical. In particular, cold email and LinkedIn can be pretty technical, but you can figure it out if you decide to. There's a bunch of free content on YouTube. You can make it work. And before we get to the mid category, if you're finding this exceptionally interesting and useful, you should join my emails. They have all the same type of awesomeness all around them. You'll love them. I'm a very good writer. I write really fun stuff. You enjoy them and you learn something. How about that? Anyway, let's get to the mid category. Oh, and the cheapest category, you can expect $1 to $1.50 to get a new contact. That's not a final lead. That depends on your copywriting and just conversational skills a lot. So you might end up getting, one of 15 of those to convert, or you can get like every 2 of them or every 3 of them. That depends. It depends on how you target and so on. You can go a little bit lower than that. You can probably go to like 50 cents per lead if you're smart about it. But in general, you should expect 3 to 10 different attempts until you get someone to actually join your list. Finally, this one is very interesting. And this is the so-called newsletter ads. And there are 2 big platforms that do this. Number one is Beehiiv, and this is a platform that a lot of my clients use. And the second one is called Sparkloop. And if you're using Kit integrates Sparkloop for free, at least the higher tiers. So Kit and Sparkloop in that regard are kind of synonyms. And by the way, Sparkloop integrates with any newsletter. It doesn't have to be Kit, but Kit has it built in, so you don't need to pay for it extra. So how does this work? The idea is you're cross-promoting your stuff between other newsletters. And where this becomes really beautiful is those firms, because they need something to get you, because obviously Facebook ads has been around a while, Google ads has been around a while, even cold email has been around a while. They need some way to stand out. So what they do is very, very interesting. They take you and they get you leads which are usually cheaper than most ads you can run, and they're usually well targeted because you're targeting newsletters, and newsletters already have people who like newsletters, which makes sense, but it gets better. What happens next is even cooler, because both of those platforms allow you to send people a certain amount of emails before they are qualified for you to pay for them. So what that means is that if you send people a bunch of emails and they immediately unsubscribe, you don't pay for them, which means in theory that you can promote on one of those networks, get a bunch of leads for free at this point, promote to all of them for a bit and, show them who you are, what your brand is and what you sell. And then only if they're interested in that, only then pay for them as actual leads. This can be stupidly effective if you figure out how to scale it correctly. I haven't seen anyone who made a stupid amount of money with this, and we have a lot of success cases around Facebook, around Google, around YouTube ads. We've seen a lot of those. Obviously, Obviously, those don't have that big of a winner. We don't have a millionaire, coming from Sparkloop or Beehiiv, but it is absolutely possible, and all networks were new networks at a certain point. So if you're feeling a little bit experimental, if you want to play around with something, and if you can play for around it and you have some cash to spare, this can be an exceptionally high risk, high reward thing. You can get a bunch of, absolutely horrible leads, and I've gotten a bunch of them. Like, I've tested both platforms and I've had terrible success and great success with them in different phases of experimentation. If you nail this, you can potentially get an incredibly well qualified list of leads for a very, very, very low price compared to any other platform. Because if we look at the expensive stuff, you still need to qualify the lead after you pay for it. You need to pay a bunch of extra. So even if you pay like $4, you'd have to be at least decent to get someone to join your list for $4. You still need them to stay on the list, and maybe 30% of them stay, maybe 60, maybe 80. But even if you get, a beginner number like 50%, that still doubles this cost. So you're back at like $8 in the best case, and maybe 20 or even more in the worst case. So this can scale pretty fast, pretty quickly. Here we have a similar issue. We have initial leads which are much cheaper, but then the next step is very, very ineffective because people don't like strangers contacting them. So it get a lower success rate compared to usual. What that means in the long run is that you'll pay $1 per lead, let's say. You'll get 10, 20 leads, and then maybe 2 to 3 of them will stay in your newsletter for the long run. Which makes me very, very excited for this, because the money you pay here is very clear. You pay $4 for a lead, you pay $10 for a lead, you still know how much you're paying exactly, and if they're not qualified, they're gone before you can even have a chance to get rid of them. This is one of the places that I will be scaling very aggressively in 2025, and I really think it's going to be one of the coolest opportunities. I hope that was useful. Ciao!